Have you ever wondered what's really behind the thunder of hooves, the roar of the crowd, the massive payouts? We see the Kentucky Derby, the glitz, the glamour, and think we know horse racing? But what if I told you the sport of kings is built on a 4,000-year history of war, gambling, and secrets you've never heard before? This isn't just about pretty hats and mint juleps. This is the raw, untold story of how war chariots became million-dollar legends. No fluff, just fire. Let's rewind the clock. Way back, think 2000 BC, in the dust of Central Asia. The first races weren't for sport, they were for survival. Nomadic tribes didn't race for a trophy. They raced to prove which horse was the fastest, the strongest, the one that would carry them to victory in battle or help them escape certain death. This was the ultimate proving ground. The prize wasn't money, it was life itself. Speed was power, and the fastest horse was the ultimate weapon. Now, let's jump forward to 680 BC. Welcome to Olympia, Greece, the birthplace of the Olympics. Forget the 100-meter dash. The main event was the 4-horse chariot race, the Tetherpin. This was brutal. Imagine 40 chariots, 160 horses, thundering around a tight track, kicking up dust and chaos. The rules. There were almost no rules. Collisions were common, and drivers were often thrown from their chariots and trampled. The prize for the owner of the winning team, a simple olive wreath, but the glory was immeasurable. As for the losing jockey, public humiliation. Sometimes they were whipped in front of the entire 40,000 spectator crowd. This wasn't a gentleman's sport. It was a blood sport. It wasn't just the Greeks. The Persians understood the power of speed too. King Xerxes, on his way to invade Greece, staged a massive race between the finest mares from his empire. But it was more than just a spectacle. The Persian Empire relied on a network of horsemen, a kind of ancient pony express, to deliver messages across Gigich's vast kingdom. These riders could cover 100 miles a day, swapping horses at stations along the way. The entire empire's communication, its ability to govern and wage war, literally rode on the back of a fast horse. Speed wasn't just exciting. It was essential for empire building. Then came the Romans. And they took horse racing to a level of obsession nobody had ever seen. The Circus Maximus in Rome could hold over 150,000 people, all screaming for their favorite chariot faction. There were 4 main teams, the Reds, the Blues, the Greens, and the Whites. These weren't just racing teams, they were like modern-day football clubs, with fanatical followings. People identified with their color. Riots would break out in the streets over race results. Emperors, senators, and common folk alike would bet everything they had. Some emperors were so addicted to the games, they bankrupted entire provinces just to fund their favorite faction or to place Gigich's own massive bets. The obsession was so intense that it's been said the empire was ruled by bread and circuses. Give the people food and entertainment, and they won't rebel. The chariot races were the ultimate circus. After the fall of Rome, horse racing faded in Europe for a while, but it never truly died. The spark was reignited in the 12th century, thanks to the knights returning from the Crusades. They brought back with them these incredible Arabian horses, sleek, fast, and full of stamina. One of these knights was King Richard the Lionheart of England. He wasn't just a warrior, he was a gambler. He became so addicted to racing these new Arabian horses against his knights, owned steeds, that he established the first official race purse, a prize of 40 pounds of gold. This wasn't just a friendly bet anymore. This was the beginning of organized high-stakes racing in England. The sport of kings was truly born, funded by a king who just couldn't resist a good wager. But the real game changer, the moment that created the sport we know today, happened in the 18th century. The scene is Newmarket, England, which had become the epicenter of horse racing. English breeders were obsessed with creating the perfect racehorse. They experimented, breeding their best mares with imported Arabian stallions. And then, it happened. 3 specific Arabian stallions, The Byerly Turk, the Darley Arabian, and the Godolphin Arabian proved to be revolutionary. Every single thoroughbred racehorse on the planet today, every Kentucky Derby winner, every multi-million-dollar champion, can trace its bloodline directly back to one of these three foundation sires. This was the birth of the thoroughbred, an animal bred for one purpose, and one purpose only: pure, unadulterated speed. The engine of modern horse racing had been built, but what governed this breeding? What ensured the purity of this new superhorse? The answer lies in an ancient Bedouin law, a principle called Asil. It's an Arabic word that means pure, noble, of authentic lineage. To the desert tribes who first bred these magnificent Arabian horses, bloodline was everything. They kept meticulous oral histories of each horse's pedigree, stretching back generations. A horse was either Asil, or it was nothing. This principle was adopted by the breeders at Newmarket. They created the first stud book, a formal record of thoroughbred pedigrees, ensuring that only horses of pure blood could be registered. This ancient desert law is the bedrock of the entire thoroughbred industry to this day. It's why pedigree is paramount. It's why bloodlines are worth millions. Now let's cross the Atlantic to America. The Kentucky Derby. The Run for the Roses. It's always held on the first Saturday in May. Ever wonder why? It's not a random date. The tradition is actually older than America itself. It goes back to those English races. In the 18th century, the major racing meets in Newmarket were held in the spring and fall, to avoid the harsh weather of winter and summer. The spring meet was the most prestigious. When horse racing came to America, they brought the traditions with them. They timed their biggest races for the spring, when the horses were fresh and the weather was good. So, that first Saturday in May isn't just a date on a calendar. It's a direct link to a centuries-old tradition, a nod to the sport's English roots. From its noble and brutal origins, horse racing grew into a global multi-billion-dollar industry. And where there's that much money, darker elements are never far behind. Horse racing, with its massive, fast-moving cash flows and opaque transactions, quietly became one of the biggest money-laundering sports on the planet. Think about it. You can buy a horse with illicit cash, race it, and any winnings come back to you as legitimate, taxable income. You can inflate or deflate the value of horses in private sales, moving money across borders with little oversight. For decades, gangsters and criminal organizations have used the sport of kings to clean their dirty money. It's the dark underbelly of the glamour, a secret hiding in plain sight on the backstretch of every major track. So here we are, from a war machine in 2000 BC, to a blood sport in ancient Greece, to an imperial obsession in Rome, to a king's gambling habit, and finally, to the birth of a superbreed, the thoroughbred. These animals, the fastest on earth, have always carried the wildest humans on their backs: warriors, emperors, kings, and billionaires. Today, a top yearling can sell for millions. The record holder, Fusesi Pegasus, was sold for a rumored $70 million, from an olive wreath to $70 million. The stakes have changed, but the essence remains the same. It's about the pursuit of speed, the purity of bloodline, and the thrill of the win. Speed never sleeps, and neither do the ones who chase it. That original spirit of the desert riders, the ones who started it all, is alive today. They were fast, they valued pure blood, and they were untamed winners who moved before the gate even opened. That spirit is the core of the Johina tribe. We are the 2025 version of those riders. If you feel that thunder in your chest when the gates fly open, if you understand that feeling when everything is on the line, then your stable is waiting. This isn't for everyone. We're looking for people who were born to run with the fastest. If this is you, send your CV in one single sentence proving you have that spirit to start now. 19951995@gmail.com. We operate as a tribe. Every member pledges 5 to 10% back. With that, we buy the yearlings, we own the tracks, and together, we dominate the sport of kings. The bell is about to ring. You can either be in the saddle with us, or you can eat our dust. Thanks for watching. If you loved this ride through history, hit that subscribe button. We've got more untold stories coming your way.